Attention all cars. The Richview Community Bank's been robbed of $100,000. Investigation team proceed at once to 2nd and Main.
Wow, did you hear that?
A bank robbery? Didn't we just hear a news story on 4 convicts that escaped here in Richview?
That's right. They jumped from the bus that was taking them to the state prison while it was stopped downtown. I bet one of them robbed the bank.
Attention all cars. The escaped criminals have been captured outside Swank's hotel, but the $100,000 hasn't been recovered.
Wow, they caught the criminals, but the money is still missing. Let's get down to the police station and see if we can help. Police Chief Barnes said we could see the police files on the 4 criminals. Let's see what we can dig up.
Thanks for your help, kids. I'm sure it was one of the 4 escaped criminals who robbed the bank. We have all 4 downstairs in the city jail. Once we identify the criminal, he'll tell us where he hid the money. He knows that the judge will give him a shorter jail sentence if he gives back the stolen cash. We interviewed Mr. Green and Mr. Washington at the scene of the crime, but they weren't able to identify the robber. Any information you can dig up will help.
The bank is almost empty. We were lucky with Sergeant Nails at the door because he knows us so well and let us in. He says we can't stay long though, so let's hurry.
The hold-up took place just after 1 p.m., when most of my tellers were out at lunch after the noontime rush. I was just reviewing the bad checks when I heard a shot. The next thing I knew, a man in a mask was telling me to fill his bag with money. I could see his eyes through the mask, though. They were dark brown. I could only see him from the waist up because I was behind the teller window. But he must have been a fairly tall fellow. His eyes were level with mine.
Mr. Washington was one of the witnesses to the holdup. Let's see if he can tell us anything about the bank robber.
I was filling out a deposit slip at the counter with my back turned to the tellers when I heard a gunshot. I looked up and caught a glimpse of the back of the robber's head in the bank mirror. His mask covered his face, but didn't go all the way around his head, so I could see that his hair was brown. Then he shouted for everyone to get down, so I dove under the countertop. He had a gun and shot a hole in the wall when Mr. Green didn't hurry with the money. I have to admit I was afraid someone was going to get hurt.
I heard the gunshots while I was here picking out some earrings. When I ran to the window, I saw a very short man with a mask over his head and a big black bag run out of the building. It was the strangest thing. He was carrying a little stool under his arm. You know, the kind you might stand on if you couldn't reach a high shelf or something. Then he jumped into a green car that was parked at the curb outside the bank and sped away. He never took the mask off, so I'm afraid I didn't get a chance to see his face.
Swank's hotel is really fancy. The radio report said they caught the escaped criminals just outside.
Criminals at Swank's? The nerve! Some of them were caught just outside, but the police actually caught one of them here, inside the restaurant. We'd served him a complete luncheon. A criminal here in Swank's for over an hour. Oh, I can't bear it. At least he was a very polite fellow.
Let's show Chief Barnes that we really know the score. Pick the 5 clues that will lead you to the best suspect. Those are the clues we need to help the police find out who did it. Now choose the convict that you think robbed the bank. Right! Shorty Briggs was the gunman at the bank. Let's check the evidence. Mr. Green told us that the bank robber had brown eyes. He also said that he could only see the robber from the waist up, but that he must have been tall because his eyes were level with Mr. Green's. Mr. Washington told us the robber had dark hair. Nicola Hamble told us that the bank robber was a short man, but that he carried a stepping stool with him from the bank. Shorty Briggs has brown eyes and brown hair. He is only 5 foot 1 inch tall, which is why his nickname is Shorty. He stood on a stool while robbing the bank so that Mr. Green would report that the gunman was tall. But you saw through his trick.